Hello everyone. Welcome to Daddy and the Don. We're back here for another live stream. Today we are previewing the first leg of the first Carabao Cup semi-final between Chelsea and Liverpool. We also will be just talking about a few other things, including the postponement of Chelsea Tottenham, pardon me, and the postponement of Arsenal Liverpool, and just a few other brief subjects. Today I have my guest making his debut on the live stream. It's Bess. Hello, Bess.
Hello, people. Thanks for having me on, Graham.
Cool. Down the bottom behind me, another person making his live stream debut for the show. Obviously, a regular pundit normally. It's Luke. He is a Tottenham fan, unfortunately. Hello, Luke.
How you going, everyone? Thanks for having me.
Down bottom right, he is the man. He's on everyone's show. He's the man that everyone wants to sign to a contract, but he's still a freelancer. It's Chelsea fan, Hanif.
Thanks so much for having me. How are we doing, everyone?
Cool. And up top right is my man, Tariq. Introduce your show, mate. Talk a little bit about it and tell you how everyone can get hold of you. It's Tariq, Arsenal fan.
Cheers, Graham. Thank you for having me on, and nice to see you all. I've got Tariq Talks. It's my channel on YouTube, and I'm an Arsenal fan, but I talk a lot more than just Arsenal, all Premier League stuff. I've got stuff coming up for AFCON as well, so get subscribed and stay tuned to keep up to date with AFCON.
Cool. Anyone watching live, just please leave a comment. I'll get it on top of it and all that. So we'll start off, before we talk about Chelsea Tottenham, we're just going to briefly talk about the reaction to Arsenal versus Liverpool being postponed. Is it the right call? I'll start with you, Tariq, as obviously you're an Arsenal fan. Is it the right call? And if it did go ahead, do you think we could have got a convincing lead? What do you reckon?
You know what? This has been heavily spoken about on social media, especially Twitter. A lot of controversy from Arsenal fans disagreeing with Liverpool fans. But for me, it's difficult because, yes, if we're taking it in isolation, it's the right call that it has been called off. But it's been previously known that Liverpool played against Aston Villa last season, where Aston Villa couldn't field out a team at all for the cup competition, and they still played against them and still went ahead. So Aston Villa had an unfair advantage. Leyton Orient had to forfeit their tie between them and Tottenham, when they made it through. So the rules I know the rules changed from the 5th round onwards, but even then it still messes with the integrity of the competition a bit. And then Jurgen Klopp, who's known to field out kids and not even turn up for EFL Cup games, so he doesn't usually pay any respect to it. So it's kind of crazy now that he wouldn't be able to fill the kids out for this one. I understand if it's a Premier League one, because you have Premier League squads as well. So if you're missing certain players out of a Premier League squad, then I totally understand that. But for the cup competitions where you can literally field anybody, it's one of those ones. I don't agree with it because of the previous actions. If it was isolated, then yeah, of course. But nah, I think it could have went ahead. And I would say the same if that would happen to Arsenal as well, because I try and stay consistent with my views on this. If Arsenal, we've seen, Graham, I know we've seen Arsenal field kids out in the past. Even in the final, I remember that one against Chelsea where we filled out a very mixed team and experience. So yeah, I think it should have went ahead personally.
Obviously, the one thing that a lot of people saying it should go ahead, and I understand why it should go ahead, but at the same time, obviously, we're on a good run at the moment, and I would really want Arsenal to beat the teams at their best, or their best available team. There's some fans going, "Oh, we should get a bye, we should only play one leg, blah blah blah." But then that sort of makes me feel, well, if Arsenal are going to be the team that everyone's hoping for at the moment, we need to beat teams at their best. Would you agree with that?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Because of all the optimism that's around the fan base at the moment, after the City game and a good run of form. And then, what we've shown in certain fixtures, we do need to beat the best. And I believe that you need to do that in any competition that you play in. Really, if we're going to win, I want us to deserve us to win it. So I understand that. But yeah, it just depends on the circumstances. If Arsenal missing a few players, will the same thing happen? That's what I'm going to... Because the situation might change we may play the first leg, but then the second leg, it may be affected and stuff. So who knows what's going to happen. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. Beat teams at their best for me.
Well, what about you, Luke? Obviously, you are a Tottenham fan, but I know talking to you in the past, you're not as... You're not biased towards Tottenham just because it's Arsenal. You're very respectful. Do you think Arsenal have a great chance to qualify, regardless when these games get played?
I think they do have a strong chance. It depends, obviously, how serious they want to take the competition. Going by previous seasons, they've taken it very seriously, and Liverpool, like you were just saying, is sort of let it go by in the past. But I think Klopp's realised he's out of the title race this season. He's panicking a bit for a trophy, so maybe he wants to go forth more for this game. Obviously, Mane and Salah going to AFCON. That's another big loss, and I don't think this game should have been postponed. I think there should have been a warning that if you were going to postpone the game based on the amount of COVID cases, that it was either going to be a 3-0 home loss or it was a complete bye. I do think Arsenal have a strong chance. Again, it just depends how seriously they take it. If they put out full strength squad, especially at the moment, I mean, they've got all the momentum in the world. So this might actually knock them a little bit just because they want to keep sort of chasing up momentum and riding that wave.
Henny, if I come to you, mate, if Chelsea got to the final, who would you rather play right now, Liverpool or Arsenal?
I don't care. I'll take both. All I want to say is about this is, what clarity do we have? How many people have got COVID? What are the regulations? Why aren't we being told that these amount of people have been affected? We don't know what's going on. There is no transparency. As a Chelsea fan, I think we're being hard done by. We're being treated the worst. We've had to play games throughout. Everyone's got, especially the top clubs, have got enough depth. If you said to me someone like Brighton or Palace or someone like that, I'd be like, you know what, fair play. They might not have the depth. But the big clubs, you're telling me we don't have enough players to compete in these competitions. And Klopp's been complaining all the time, for the past month and a half about the fixtures and everything. And I'm just like, you know what, they've finally given in. The reason, in my opinion, the reason why it got postponed is because Klopp is pro-COVID. Getting the vaccine, and they're just like, you know what, let's just give it. They've been, and this isn't the Premier League, this is the FA. Yeah. And with the FA, there is more flexibility, in my opinion. If it was the Premier League, it'd be a completely different story because of the amount of money and TV rights involved. That's just how I see it.
Well, I think sorry to interject. I think with the Premier League as well, because it's a named squad, obviously there's a limited amount of players. They can name any person they want in that team. And they might even find a diamond in the rough. They might find that one of their youngsters comes through, that, you know, they might have the game of their life, and you might uncover some talent you didn't realise was there.
Curtis Jones a couple of years ago for Liverpool in the FA Cup.
Liverpool don't have the depth. They're suffering from injuries, and Klopp knows that his lads need a rest. Whereas Chelsea, I'm sorry, when it comes to Liverpool, I got no sympathy. I'm not, you know, I rate Klopp, but he's always complaining. He's got postponements, and we haven't. And I just don't understand why we're not given enough information. That's my issue. Yeah. What is the number? What's been affected? Okay, the training facility, they've had a lot of COVID cases. Okay. So how many players have been affected? How many? Why aren't journalists doing a better job? That I probably blame them.
Yeah,
and a bit more than probably the clubs, because they should be asking for this information. We're being given these numbers about how many people are affected by Omicron. Now tell me how many people at Arsenal Football Club have been affected by COVID. You know, give us a number and tell us what the number is. That if it reaches this amount of players, then the fixture should be postponed. Yeah, that's all I'm asking.
Yeah,
I'm not saying this to no. You know, they should have to play. No, definitely not. That I'm just being I'm just being harsh there, but. Surely we have to have some transparency. You know, the way this is being dealt with is the way Boris Johnson is dealing with the coronavirus. It's not being dealt with very well. And we've had a year of this. Surely we should have learned from our past mistakes. But I guess we haven't. And this is where we are. Listen, I hope everyone's okay and the fixture will be played. Is it in a couple of weeks' time? we'll take it from there.
Yeah, it is. And just to add on that, just briefly before I go to Bez, obviously the first leg's actually now going to be at Anfield and the second leg's at Emirates. So I don't know if that's a disadvantage, but we'll see. Just to you, finally, Bez, on this, anything you want to add? Do you think it's the right call, or do you agree with everyone else?
Yeah, I agree with everything that those three have said. To be honest, I haven't really thought about it. It doesn't really affect me directly, but I was thinking, if they've got enough players to still field 11 or 12, whatever, then why not play it? I know that COVID's obviously rife in the squad, but as Hanif said, how many players have got it? There's only 5 or 6, and they've got a squad of how many? And I also like playing, certainly under Wenger, I like playing a lot of the youngsters and the kids. Liverpool don't seem to play so many kids. But as Hanif said, maybe it's just Klopp wants to win something. I mean, City always put out their strongest four in this competition. Won it 4 years on the bounce. Pep always treated it with respect, but obviously, it wasn't the time when we had COVID. But yeah, I think maybe it should have been played. Yeah, but obviously, welfare of players and staff is, it's got to be the most important thing. But if they could have played it, then I think they should have done. Yeah, because now what happens with your first game? Now the second leg for the Chelsea-Tottenham game will have to be played at a later date as well, won't it? After your first leg.
Yeah, I don't know what
leg.
I'm not sure on that. Does anyone else know if that's been changed?
Playing their 2 games before you played your first leg.
Yeah. Oh, possibly. I'm not 100% sure. I know that our first leg's now on the 13th, so I don't know when their second leg is.
Yeah, I think I should have played it. Yeah, if it's possible to play it, then
play it.
We're playing next week. Basically next Wednesday.
Your 2 legs are
before yours,
first one. So yeah,
and the knock on, and you guys have got a lot. Both clubs have got a bit of a rest now. That's going to have a knock-on effect on your league form, and I'm sure Arsenal want to try their best to try and finish in those Champions League places, and this potentially could have a knock-on effect on that, and also Liverpool as well, because if they lose 1 or 2, then it benefits Liverpool above Arsenal and the rest. That's where I'm coming from.
All right, guys.
It has a big impact on the North London derby as well.
Yeah,
because Arsenal, with the rearrangement, Arsenal are now playing. I think it's 3 days now before the North London derby, which is the next Premier League game. So that's that can be a huge impact.
And a big advantage for Tottenham, and they probably would have had it anyway because they're at home. They fancy that, but yeah, I think you're right there, mate. We'll move on, but before we move on, a couple of comments. Phil, he is the daddy, he is the co-host of the channel. Evening, fellas. Good to see the Don brought all the big guns out tonight. And Laura, second leg is on the 22nd. Thank you there for that, Laura.
Your wife knows, G.
Yeah, that's my wife. Yeah, she's always watching. She's got no choice. So before we move on to the Chelsea Tottenham, because we've got Bez on here, I just wanted to very briefly, Bez, little word on Fulham so far this season. How you rate it out of 10, and realistically, do you think you'll go up?
I think out of 10, I think we have been best team in the division. I know Bournemouth are top, whatever, but they've had a little blip. We haven't had a blip yet. We haven't played the last 3 games because all 3 games have been postponed because of COVID from the other teams. So we'll be a bit rusty next time out. But I think overall, I've been impressed with what I've seen, what Silva's done for us compared to what Parker had us playing last season. But I just think that teams are finding us out at the minute. We drew 4 in a row and then lost our last one because I think teams worked it out to play us, had to keep us quiet, and Silva didn't have a plan B. But I still think we'll be right up there. I do think we'll finish top 2. Whether we'll win it or not, I don't know. But then, if we have our blip at the wrong time, then we could end up in the playoffs. Blackburn are flying at the minute. Forest are going well. Borough are back in there. QPR,
Hartsfield as well. So it's competitive.
Yeah, so I just think we've got, having not played for 3 games, I think obviously we play Saturday in the Cup, Bristol City away, and then we've got to fit these 3 games in somewhere. So that'll, we'll be playing hopefully every week for the next few weeks. So yeah, I think we'll finish top 2. If not, we'll certainly finish in playoff positions. But yeah, I think top 2 we can go up. Yeah.
Tariq, just briefly on Fulham, do you think if they do go up, is it going to be another case of them going straight back down, or do you think maybe this could be a change?
there's some big factors in that. And I was just talking to Bez just before we started, before we went on there, about players like Fabio Carvalho. And Bez was saying that he'd be more interested in keeping Mitrovic, who has 22 goals in 22 appearances. So he's literally averaged a goal a game. So it's about keeping their key players. You signed Harry Wilson on a permanent, didn't you? Was it on loan?
A little bit, to be fair.
Oh, there you go. So he's been doing all right this season.
Yeah, what was about? I was saying that about. I just think if Carvalho went to a bigger club, he might get lost. Like I said about Patrick Roberts, there was the best thing since sliced bread at Fulham. Went to Man City, no one's heard of him since.
Yeah, that's very true.
Those big clubs, I think, if we keep him and he has a good season in the Premiership, what's good 2 seasons, then by all means,
and that's it. And I believe if he does stay, if you do go up, then he should stay. And it's all about the agent there. So if they keep their key players, exactly. If they keep their key players and do much better recruitment than when they did in when they last came to the Premier League,
playing a better type of football. I mean, that stuff Parker had to play last season was dreadful.
Yeah.
Goals any games. And Silva might go totally the other way. Might get us playing 2 attacking, but I'd rather that.
Yeah, at least it's entertaining. So the recruitment's going to have to be key.
He didn't like him. I think Bishop scored goals next season in the Premier League. The way we play.
Going to Luke about that actually, because I know Luke knows his football, especially that sort of Fulham, because he's seen them play before. Mitrovic, is he a Premier League striker, Luke? Simple as. That's the question.
Yeah, I think he's a lower level Premier League striker. I think he's good for maybe 15 goals. I think he could scrape 15 goals. But it all comes down to delivery. He's a decent target man. He can finish, but there's so many different factors, especially when it comes to a striker. There's a lot of unique players that can generate a chance out of nothing.
Yeah.
But some players just need the service, and they'll just knock them in.
Yeah.
And that's sort of how you get your tally, really.
Yeah.
So I do think he can be a Premier League striker.
15 goals.
He's not top level, but I think.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go on. I think it's type of football. I know he had a bad year last year, but I think Scott Parker's football didn't suit him. I think if he continues to play the same football, Silva, then I think Mitchell will get goals. But for me, I'm always worried about if Fulham go up. I just think they're a yo-yo team.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, that goes back to the recruitment issue. That's the key. You have to, especially at that level, where your funds aren't always available. You have to be smart. You have to be smart on your recruitment, your scouting. That is an area that I don't think is focused on enough. I think there's plenty of teams that try and just throw money at the wall, just to try and get a result, but they're not looking at the bigger picture. Yeah. It's more than just the marquee. It's almost like a marquee signing to keep the fans happy.
Yeah,
you need more than that.
When Carobao took us up and they threw 120 million at it, and he played 7 new players in the first game of the season. Yeah, no one played together. So it's like, well, what's going on? I mean, then last season
that was the downfall for that year, and that was 3 years ago. That was even the year before last year you got Tam. So
went down a loan signing route. Obviously, didn't want to throw money at it, but one or two of them were like Anderson centre I thought was all right, and looked on the second, but
he's doing well. Hanif, if you were in charge of Fulham, what would you do different next year if they do go up?
I think you guys have touched on it. I think when you look at some of these clubs that have come up, and I look at Brighton, for example, and Leicester. I think Leicester are a very good example. You've got to scout really well, and you've got to have a scouting department that look at numbers and figures. And we've seen the likes of Kante, Mahrez, and so on come through. And I think that's what Fulham have to do. And if you want a long-term future in the Premier League, or you want to strive to stay in the Premier League, that's what you have to do. You have to put these things in place. So then when you get the right manager, you support him. And if you look at how Brentford have done things, very small club. However, they've gone about it in a very smart way. If you get the right man in and back him, and you might even have to go down like Burnley did with Sean Dyche, and then he's done a tremendous job since his return. If you get the right men in, I think you have to play attacking football. Pressing attacking football seems to be the new type of football that's being played at this moment in time. And I'm from Huddersfield, so that's all we just press, and we've got no quality, and somehow somewhere we're in the playoffs at the moment. But I think Fulham have got the ingredients. I just think if Silva's the right manager to stick the plan together, then they might cause a few issues next season. It's just you have to make sure you've got the right man, and you buy smart, not buy well. You buy smart, and then then in the long run they come good.
Just quickly, they can look closer to home. Look in West London, Brentford, how they've recruited them way up into the
Ben Rama and Bemo, Malpay. They all come very similar players to what you were saying about Mahrez and Kante. And they come from nowhere. And yeah, if Fulham can do that, then they've got every chance. But I always look at Fulham and go, yo club. They remind me of Norwich and West Brom. But let's hope they have to go up first. But I'd be very shocked if they don't. I do think
it wasn't that long ago. That when we went down, we had 13 consecutive seasons in the top.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago, and that's something that needs to check. That's something that needs to come back. But I think you were a team there that were. The thing with Fulham back then, you were a very small club back then, and you got a bit more of a reputation, and now you have too many high expectations, and I think there's a lot more pressure for you to stay up in the league nowadays. Brentford went down this year. They would go up. Let's move on, but they're doing great because they're just going for it. I think Fulham get nervous like Norwich and think, is this the year we do it? And unfortunately, every year you going on Huddersfield. I'm sure Huddersfield spent a year in the Premier League, didn't they? And then they got relegated.
Yeah, we survived the season, and then we battered United twice when they came to our ground, and we went down. We didn't have the squad to compete in the Premier League. It was just hard work and dedication, and the chairman made a bad decision in terms of hiring a new manager who was unproven, and we went down, and now we've got the new guy in. He seems to be getting a tune out of him. I want him to survive in the Championship, but let's see what happens. They'll survive. That's the main thing, and I'm happy with that. That's my town at the moment.
All right, guys. So we spoke too much about Fulham. I'm joking. It's good to chat. Listen, it's always good to chat about another team in another division. And like I said, I know everyone here has got a good knowledge, and it's good to talk about Fulham. I think they'll go up, and I think let's just see how they recruit, like everyone said. We'll move on now then. So obviously the main reason we're on here, Chelsea versus Tottenham. I'm going to start with you, Luke. I'm going to ask you a few questions. Now, what is there a feeling that with Conte in charge, Tottenham have a very realistic chance of not just beating Chelsea, but actually winning this cup?
I think so. I mean, there is an element of deja vu because it felt similar when Mourinho came in, but we've definitely seen him get more out of the team. He's a proven winner, but he's also he's in his element. He's in his prime at the moment. So you could argue that Mourinho fell off a little bit. I still don't blame him for a lot of the issues. As I said before, I think there were further problems at the club. But Conte's a no-nonsense guy. He's obviously gone in there with an agenda, with his plan in mind that he wants to implement. And he stated that to Levy because he wouldn't have taken the job without the backing, without the promises. So this is going to be a tough game. The next two legs are going to be really tough. Chelsea are a good team. I think they're unbeaten since October or something. There's a couple of maybe wins they should have got there, but I think in football terms, this is our toughest game, but we also haven't turned up in finals in recent memory. So, one step at a time. This game. You've got to win this game to get to the final. But yeah, it does feel like it does feel different. It feels different. Whether we have the players or not is another matter.
Is this the best time to play? I'll go to you, Tariq. Is this the best time to play Chelsea if you were a Tottenham?
There's not much better times to play them, so I do think it is. If looking from a Tottenham perspective, because Chelsea defensively, Hanif knows what I think of a few of the players individually at the back. I think you can get at them, and with the problems that Tottenham caused Liverpool the other day, they've got a bit more confidence going into these sort of games. I know that Conte provides that confidence as well. Having that as your manager, he can set them up tactically to attack Chelsea. How I expect the game to go from a Tottenham perspective is counter-attack again, because I don't believe Tottenham have a good enough midfield to control a game in terms of possession and even try and attack quickly when they do get it. So whoever plays in midfield, Luke, it'd be interesting to hear who you think they're going to play in the middle.
Well, from what I've seen so far, I mean, it's been a lot of mixing or rotation of Winks and Skip. I think for this game, especially seeing as the last game Winks was in, I think Skip starts. I really rate Ollie Skip. I think he's a fantastic player. I think he provides stability, composure on the ball. I think I can't see Højbjerg not being in there. I see Conte looking to attack this game. Like you say, the counter attacks. If you look at the Watford game, we made a lot of not chances, but we made a lot of breaks on the wings. The delivery was not there at all. The delivery was poor, and that's something that if we can get the delivery right, then that gives us chances and can hopefully get Kane or Son on the score sheet. I'd also like to see Lucas Moura get back into the team through the middle. He can cause a lot of problems in his close dribbling. He opens up a lot of space, which again just adds to those crosses. And we've seen Reece James look a bit shaky going backwards. So I'd like to see him. I'd like to see them try to exploit him a little bit. And it'd be interesting to see if it's Sessegnon. I'm not sure if he's back from injury. I think he's back now, already on start. So yeah, I've not seen any news. I saw that there was some cases, 2 cases, I believe. One was a Stonewall in a team. So I don't know who that person was, and whether we've got anyone out at the moment. So
Bez, Harry Kane, how important is he for Tottenham? Can he win them the match?
I think it's very important for Tottenham, same as it is for England. I think obviously he's had the greatest start to the season, hasn't he? And that was probably a lot of it down to manager there before. He looked shot to pieces to me. It's decent Euros, but he comes out way Spirito Santo set him up the way they played. He didn't play my position. He looked shot to pieces. Yeah, he's very important to Tottenham. But obviously, I think Son is as well. But I think if Kane will score goals. Simple as that. If he gets the ball in the box, no matter who puts it in there, he'll score goals. And I think Chelsea's defense hasn't been great last couple of games. And I think if Spurs can get in and get at Tottenham and provide Kane with chances, then I think he'll score goals. And I think it's very important to Tottenham, yeah.
Hanif, Chelsea need a win here. I think even though Liverpool's not a bad result, obviously, but how important it is for Chelsea to just go out here, set a marker and smash Tottenham.
We are not going to smash Tottenham. We're not good enough, I don't think, at this moment in time. That's just me being honest. Listen, Conte is one of the best managers in the world, and Tottenham pulled up blinder. I bet even Arsenal fans were worried when Conte walked in. That guy walked in and he slept at the training ground. That's the type of manager they've got. They've got class. I didn't rate him until he won the Premier League title, and then I'm like, there's something about this guy. He's special. I believe he's going to win a championship of some sort, some cup for Tottenham. It just depends on what type of Chelsea turns up. My only issue is there's a few concerns. Since Conte's arrived, these guys are covering more distance. I think they're in the top 2 for covering those the amount of distance on the pitch.
15 kilometers a game more.
They're third for creating chances, and the second for expected touches. The fourth in touches in opposition box. So that worries me, especially with our defensive record. However, in terms of quality, we've got the quality, but we seem to have gone off the boils for about a month now. We don't have, and since we've lost our fullbacks, we can't stretch the pitch, and they will probably target our fullbacks depending on who starts. I believe we get chance. I believe we'll create the most chances, but can we take them? That's what it comes down to. Harry Kane, in my opinion, is finding his feet. He's finding his form. He's a class act. There's no doubt about it. But I am a bit worried because I think Tottenham will come for a draw and then they'll try and smash us at White Hart Lane. And I think if you ask Luke now, he'll probably take a draw at Stamford Bridge. But we need to look to like win 2 or 3-0 tonight. But it's going to be a tough game, and Antonio Conte is a serial winner, as he said.
How Hanif, how big of a miss has Ben Chilwell been for Chelsea?
Ben Chilwell, Reece James, massive in terms of, you know, he's a goal scorer. When he first initially came, I was absolutely slating him because I didn't think he gave us enough defensively. But then back end of the season, he came good. Our fullbacks were the ones that were scoring most of our goals alongside our defenders. And
well, since they both got injured, it's been different, isn't it? The form's gone.
Yeah, we missed that width. We missed those opportunities. We missed those crossing abilities, and it's a big part of our game. It's the formation is kind of, to a certain degree, similar to Tottenham's. It'll be very interesting to see how it plays out because, you know, you're basically playing 3-4-3 versus 3-4-3, and it's Lukaku versus Kane today, and hopefully after Lukaku's apology, he needs to score a hat trick before I can think about forgiving him. So, but it's going to be a tough game, and Chilwell is a big miss. He's going to be out for the season, and we need to go get a left fullback.
Luka Dean.
Tariq,
Yep.
what's the key battle for this game? You name me a key battle.
Ooh, all right. So, in terms, I'm going to say from a Tottenham perspective, it's how they can isolate the likes. So Son will be off the left-hand side, and who will play right centre-back? Who do you think will play right centre-back for you guys, Hanif?
Thiago Silva or Aspilicueta?
Chalobah or Aspie.
Son,
I hope it's not Aspie, but
Son versus Chalobah or Aspie for Tottenham. That's what they're going to need to do because if you saw against Liverpool, Chelsea were playing a really high line, and that if that happens against Tottenham, that's what Tottenham do when Harry Winks plays. What I've been quite impressed with Harry Winks, and I don't really rate him, but what I've seen in recent weeks is playing that ball over the top. Do you know what I mean? So he's added that little bit into his game since Conte's come in, and he's just told him to play it forward as soon as possible. So Son against either Chalobah or Aspie, and then for Chelsea, it's definitely how much can they dominate that midfield battle, because they definitely have the better quality. If, as Luke says, if he does go with Skip, we know Skip's that combative midfielder. I think he's good to a certain extent. Skip, because he's very good at breaking up play, reading the game. I think he can improve on the ball and improving that range of passing. So I think he'll be coming up against like his match in a way in terms of Kante or Kovacic or Jorginho, and that's where Chelsea are really going to need to make sure they create chances, keep possession, and keep winning it back as high up as possible as well. So that midfield for Chelsea, and then Son versus the right centre back for Tottenham.
Bez, I think we're talking, you know, we've been very praiseful of Tottenham, but I think, do you think that Chelsea here should be the favourites and should win regardless what form they're on?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, you know, also they've got, everyone's saying about how good manager Spurs have got in, and they have. Fair play to them. You know, I think United missed out on him there, but fair play to Spurs for getting him in. But Chelsea got Tuchel in. You know, I know Mac has said about, obviously, you know, he's won them the Champions League, took over from Lampard. Obviously, would Lampard have won them the Champions League? Probably not. So they got a good manager in as well. I think Chelsea, to me, I think, are just favourites for this game. Maybe not the whole time.
But do you think they will win?
I think Chelsea will win.
Yeah. Without saying a prediction, do you think they will win this game?
Yeah, narrowly.
Yeah, do you reckon?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll get to your score prediction in a minute. Just very briefly again with you, Bez. We mentioned Lukaku. How much of a distraction has that been for Chelsea over the last week or so?
Who's that for?
Lukaku.
Oh, Lukaku?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and he said something earlier about Chelsea. They've been struggling a little bit for the last month or so, but hasn't he missed the last month or so playing for Chelsea? I mean, is that not where some of their problems lie? Where he's not been up top scoring goals? But I think
he came back for a couple of games where he did score for us, but then obviously since the interview we had to drop him in our last Premier League game. So he's on form since he's returned.
Yeah, he'll score goals if he's on form. Yeah, I think the last one, obviously, what he came out of and said, whatever he said, how he said it, he shouldn't have said. But I think it has probably affected, maybe not the team, obviously it's affected Tuchel in some way. That's why he dropped him. But I wouldn't have thought something like that would be enough to unsettle the team. No, it should be fresh enough to go over their heads.
Luke, let's not make a mistake about it. I know Conte's come in, but I do think your biggest weakness is your centre-backs. I'm still not sure on any of them, apart from Romero, who's injured. Is that a big worry for you going into this game, if Chelsea find their form?
I think they've definitely looked more solid since Conte's come in. I've been surprised by Sanchez. I think he's improved somewhat. It does worry me, especially with the decision making. That one-on-one decision making sometimes it leaves a lot to be decided. I think if Chelsea, if their wing backs or their wingers attempt to take the man on, they might find themselves in some pretty decent positions, and maybe even with some fouls, some free kicks in with some good opportunities like we found ourselves against Watford in the last minute. It does worry me. Leaving a leg out every now and again, ill discipline does creep in. Ben Davies has always worried me, just because he gives away silly little fouls. He gives away needless penalties.
He's improved under Conte though, from what I'm hearing.
He has improved. He's improved under Conte. He hasn't really put a foot wrong this season. Don't get me wrong. He's been solid this season, but he always worries me, and he should have. I can't remember what game it was. He should have had a penalty given against him that he managed to get away with, and I think that might have even been the Liverpool game in the first 5 minutes. So he still worries me a little bit, but he has improved under the system, and also just adding on to earlier in terms of the Son battle. I think with Conte's system and the way that the centre backs can get forward, Ben Davies plays a crucial part in that because he's constantly getting up, and if we've got either Reguilon or Sessegnon bombing past, it only opens up the space further. So that's going to be interesting to see how that goes.
Luke, I wanted to ask you, you bought a player called Brian Gill, who's highly rated. I don't know how. From what you've seen, what are your thoughts, and what type of future do you think he'll have at Tottenham, and can he make an impact this season?
This season, definitely not. I saw some glimpses earlier in the season against Paços de Ferreira. He had a strong show. He was actually our best player on the pitch, our first game against them. Not that was anything to be proud of because we were diabolical. But he's shown glimpses of wanting to take a man on. I'm not quite sure he's physically ready for the Premier League. He needs to work on that. He seems to be okay on the ball. I'm not overly convinced. I would like to see him go out on loan somewhere, maybe the Championship, toughen him up a little bit. Just get him used to England. It's a different gravy. It's more physical. It's week in, week out. There's no rest, and a lot of players aren't ready for that, and sometimes aren't suited to it. But there's only one way to test that. So I would like to see him go out on loan next season to a Championship side, and I think that's either going to be the making of him or the breaking of him, and then we'll know whether to get him involved more in the first team or sell him on.
Also, you've got to remember Conte doesn't really use young players like that as well.
No.
Especially going forward in the attacking areas. Even at Inter Milan, I could like Bastoni, but Bastoni wasn't. He's young, but he wasn't like playing like a youngster. He was already in Inter Milan regular.
Yeah, well, that's why I'd like to see the loan system, because we know that Conte only does short stints. His contract is only for 18 months. So depending on how we're looking to go forward, and also the investments that we do make either in this month or in the summer, that's going to be proven, because there's talks of Kulusevski from Juventus, whether that's true or not.
That'd be a very good signing. That'd be a very good signing.
Weston McKennie as well. There was apparently interest.
Yeah.
That I don't know, but I would just like to see him go on loan, if anything, just to improve his price tag, if we do want to move him on.
So I'll go to everyone now. So I'm going to ask you all the same question. I'll start with you, Bez, and then I'll go to Tariq, Luke, then Hanif. Key player for both sides. One player on each side that will be the key player. Bez, start with you. Key player for Tottenham, key player for Chelsea in this game.
I don't know too much about either side, but if they players both I think will play, then we'll say probably if he's fit and plays, and Kante for Chelsea, and obviously I think Kane up for Tottenham.
Yeah, Tariq.
Lukaku for Chelsea, and I'm probably going to nick Luke's here in terms of a key player. It depends on him really. Sanchez, which Sanchez is going to turn up.
Luke.
For us, I think if he plays Emerson, depending on his end product, on his crossing ability, if he can make those crosses, that could be a huge turning point. In terms of Chelsea, I think Kante, if he plays, because he, as we said, he can dominate that midfield and really change momentum.
Hanif?
For us, because the limelight's on him, and he's got a lot to prove yet again. This Big Lou, Romelu Lukaku, and for Tottenham, and I think this guy is underrated. I think he's one of the best players in the Premier League, and that's Son. Yeah. I think Son can change. I think for me, he's better than Kane as a player. That's just my opinion. I think he's way better than Kane as a player. Yeah. He's so underrated.
I wouldn't say that's a ridiculous comment. I think that's a fair comment. I understand the reasoning for that.
For me, I just think the way this guy plays, and if he scores and plays the way I think he can play, he could absolutely score and assist and blows off the park. So for me, it's Son.
He's just lacked the consistency. That's just my only criticism of Son, is he can be an absolute world beater, or he can just go completely missing in games. His touch can be completely off. He's one way or the other, and that's my only criticism. And I saw it more towards the tail end of last season.
But you don't play him centrally. I think if you gave him a season centrally, you'd have to drop Kane. I think those those quick front players you've got, Son, Bergwijn, and you're gonna have to Mora. I think you should play with them three. I don't think you should start with Kane.
I don't think there's enough. There's not a finisher there though for me.
None of them are inconsistent. All of them are inconsistent, though. That's the problem.
Yeah,
we've seen a little bit more from.
We've never seen that enough, but we've never seen that three consistent. When was the last time they played 10 games together?
Yeah, Mora plays better centrally. I think he plays better toward the 10 position because of his close dribbling ability. I don't think he's as quick as everyone likes to think. I think he's got acceleration. I think he's got acceleration. He can beat a man over 10 yards, but I don't know that when he's at full pedal that he can match someone like Son or someone like that. So and Bergwijn, his finishing is just, it's non-existent really. And I don't think he's produced enough. I can see him being sold. Well, supposedly Ajax are interested, so that's one to look to really get rid. I'm liking more of this season. I'm liking his position, and I think his commitment. He's fully committed every game, which is as a fan you love to see.
For me, I'm going to say key battle. Key players for both sides. Rudiger for Chelsea, because I think I know he's highly rated, but I think he's a player that can get someone. He can lose his head. He reminds me of Luiz a bit. He can't play in the back too. And then obviously Kane. So for me, that's the key players. That's the key battle. Just a comparison, and again, I'm going to go to you, Tariq, because you're the neutral one out of with Beth, but you're the neutral one here. Is Davinson Sanchez and Rudiger the same sort of players? Are these two players where you can't play them in the back two? They lose their heads. They are good, but they're not consistent enough. Would you say that's a fair comparison?
I think that's 100%. Like, if you're going to talk about brothers in disguise, I think they really are, because how aggressive they are and how they like to play on the front foot. Yeah, it's good when you watch it happen. I think it's going to be interesting when Romero comes back as well, because he's very much.
I was just going to say,
Yeah.
So they are rash at times, and when they play well, they can shine. Like we've seen Davinson Sanchez when he was at Ajax against United in the final and in certain games, but then. Yeah, in a back two, you can't play that, because if they get caught out of position there, they don't have the other two centre-backs to cover him. So 100%, I agree with that, Graham. What was you going to say?
I think he's got all the makings and all the physical attributes of a world-class centre-back. It's just what's between the ears. His head just lets him down, and he just makes the most ridiculous decisions.
Yeah.
Before we get to the score prediction, Hanif, one more question for you. Obviously, no Mendy. Is this a chance of Kepa to show I actually am a good goalie? Are you worried, or you think he can do well here?
I forgot Kepa.
I'm not worried at all. I'm not worried at all. He played well last season. I think fans from other clubs will always think what he did in that final, but last season he was fine. I think he'll come in and do a job. I've got no problems with Kepa. He's not going to go anywhere. We're paying him silly money, and he was one of our £70 million plus signings, which is unbelievable, but it is what it is. So no, I'm not worried about Kepa. He's a decent goalkeeper. I just think because of his past reputation and incidents that he's been involved in, he'll always be with him, and that's how people will judge him. But ultimately, for me, last season he was fine. A lot of Chelsea fans don't agree with me, but I'm more than happy for him to come in and do a job.
And Bez, just back to you, mate. Do you expect this to be an entertaining game, open game, or a tight game?
I think it'll be an entertaining game. I think it'll be an entertaining game, yeah. Two good sides. It's a semi-final of a cup to get to the final, so they're both going to want to win it. Yeah, I think it'll be an entertaining game.
Okay, all right. So, score prediction for the first leg, and then just have a little pop. Who's going to get through to the final? So I'll start with you, Luke. Score prediction, and ultimately who's going to get to the final. So just for the first leg, and then don't give the second leg. Just give who you think will get through out of the two teams.
I can see this one being a 0-0. To be perfectly honest, I can see it being quite fiery. I can see a lot of chances, but I can also see some decent saves being made, and also a lot of chances going astray. So I think I'd be happy with a 0-0. I can't bring myself to say that I can see a Chelsea win. So I'm going to have to sit on the fence here and go 0-0. And
do you reckon you can get through to the final?
I think so. Yeah. I think 0-0 puts us in a strong position, puts us on the front foot. We've got a little bit of time between games to readjust, and Conte is a world-class manager, and he can deal with whatever comes our way. So if we can sneak a goal today, I'll be super happy. But 0-0 and move on.
Best score prediction for today, and who do you reckon is going to get to the final?
Entertaining 1-0 win for Chelsea today, I think. But I think Spurs will get the final overall. I think they'll turn it around at home.
Yep. Hanif, what do you reckon? Score prediction, and who do you reckon will get through to the final?
I'm going with my boys. I think we'll win. 2-1.
Still my prediction.
And I think I don't know what our next fixture. I don't know what our fixtures are after the weekend, but I think we go. I think we'll lose the tie at White Hart Lane, and I think overall we'll get through 3-2.
Okay, thank you very much, Hanif. And finally, Tariq, score prediction. Who do you reckon gets through?
3-2 in the first leg. Kepa's definitely conceding at least one goal, Hanif. I'm sorry, he's awful. And I'm going to say, Chelsea to make it through as well.
Okay, before we get to one more question, a few comments have come on. Jay, obviously best knows Jay, and Hanif and Tariq. Jay's the one who was on the Monday Talks the other day. He's a Brentford fan. Chelsea are bang average, overachieving. I'd understand that because I do think they're not as good as what people say, but I do think they're a good side. Don't get me wrong. Monday Talks, yes, lads. Hello, Monday. Thanks for coming on. Laura's back. Favourite back in Bez. He loved backing the
I wouldn't
favourite.
say Spurs my favourite overall.
Yeah. Well, I would say they are. Munsey, hi Laura. Why can't you two message off this? It's only one leg, isn't it? No, it's two legs, Munsey. You're a Man United fan, you wouldn't know. All right. So before we go, guys, I'll start with you, Anif. Who's winning the cup?
Who are Arsenal playing on? Is it Liverpool?
Yeah. Yeah, we spoke about it earlier, Anif.
I'm worried about Spurs, to be fair.
Only have a short-term memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, trust me. Only 2005 came out of shell.
Come on, who's winning it, Anif?
I'll go with Chelsea. I'll go with Chelsea. I'll go with my boys. I'll back them.
Yeah, fair enough. Before I get to the next one, Hanif, is bang average. That's from Munsey. And nice dig there. Come on, you support Man United, Munsey, and you love Harry Maguire. You don't give me any choice.
You know what, Graham? Hanif said, "My boys." I thought he was on about United for a second.
Yeah,
undercover United fan there.
Undercover. Bez, who's winning the cup out of the 4 teams?
I haven't thought about it, boys.
Go on, just say a team.
Tottenham.
Tottenham.
Ooh.
All right, fair enough. That's a go. I'll give you that one, mate. Luke, who's winning the cup?
I think this is our best opportunity in a long while. It depends. The stars have to fall in place, but I'm going to back us. I'm going to go Spurs.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And before I go, you Tariq, no more Graham and Munsey talks. Oh, come on. Tariq, come on. There's only one answer here. Surely, who's winning the cup?
Oh, I don't usually back us, but I'm going to say it. You've got me, Graham. I'm going to say Arsenal.
Good lad. Phil, Hanif, Kane, and Lukaku a run for their money. The way he's finished his dinner earlier. Laura's saying Arsenal. Obviously, that's because she's got no other choice. Joking, buddy. I know. Don't worry. Ella, Liverpool, Arsenal are my picks. I think it's a Liverpool-Tottenham final, personally. I think we can beat Liverpool. I'm not scared of them in this cup. And I just got a feeling that Tottenham are going to get to the final. I would not be surprised who wins this. I think it's very open. I think Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea and Tottenham are all good sides. I think tonight's going to be a very tight game first half, but I do think it'll open up, and I do see a couple of goals. I think it could be a draw. More comments. Even now, Arsenal won't win it.
Look at this. You see, he doesn't.
My pick is anyone but Arsenal.
Yeah,
Can you imagine if Spurs beat Chelsea and Arsenal beat Liverpool? It'd be just the North London derby.
Yeah,
it'd be crazy.
That's what we want.
Crazy.
Spurs' home ground. That is Wembley.
Yeah. Well, it used to be. Did they used to fill it out half full or?
Nah,
they're not going to get 90,000. It's not 90,000 Sados, is there?
Graham, it was their home ground, but we still won more trophies there. Would
you rather us play in Woolwich, Graham?
I'd rather play at the toilet bowl.
When's the daddy making his debut? When he's allowed? Okay. So that's it basically for today, guys. I really appreciate everyone coming in. Everyone's commenting now. I want to see Tariq.
Teams are out, boys. Teams are out.
He means not smiling. That's what he means.
He's smiling because he's an Arsenal fan. Listen, guys, I really appreciate you all coming on. Thank you, Bez. Anything you want to add?
No, just thanks for having me on, Graham. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Hopefully, I'll be on another one at some point. If you have me on.
What? Yeah, no, you're good. You're right. Tariq,
Bez, you got some trendy colours, man, in the background. You got some trendy colours, man. I'll tell you that. What type of wallpaper is that?
I'm in my son's bedroom, mate.
Oh,
all lights around his walnut, so look, it's not quite bad when you're sat in here.
Yeah.
All right. I'm thinking where you are.
Anyway, I've enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Tariq, always a pleasure. Always like talking to you, mate. Anything you want to add?
Nah, just thank you, Graham, man. I'm sure we're gonna have to have probably a good Arsenal debate, man. We've got plenty there. We will, mate.
We will. We can talk about all the Premier Leagues we won. We could add Luke in it if he wants. We can talk about all the Premier Leagues they won.
Exactly. At what lane?
Yeah.
Sorry, Luke.
Before I get to you, Luke, underneath, I have a soft spot for both Arsenal and Liverpool, so I'm biased unless it's the Bees. Munsey, not. Munsey, are there tissues in there? You did Monday for fuck's sake. he's bored. Luke, thanks for coming on. Appreciate you coming on, mate. Always good to talk to you. Anything you want to add?
Not a lot. Hoping for a feisty affair today. Normally is. Hopefully it don't disappoint. Come on, you Spurs. Thanks for having me on.
And finally, the man that goes on all the shows. He's the man that everyone wants to book. We're all trying to get him to a contract. Hanif, thanks for coming on again, mate. Always a pleasure. Anything you want to add, buddy?
I'm like Reina. I go where I'm needed, so it is what it is. Thanks so much for having me.
Hey,
the good thing about today is Doherty's starting, so I'm liking that.
Nice. Hanif, will the United shirt be the sweetener for you to sign the contract?
Monday talks with Arsenal Monday. Yeah, that's true. Rent boy Hanif. Lads, again, thank you very much. Before we go, just want to tell everyone, uploaded today was our FA Cup predictions video, special video. Normal pundits Luke and Bez were on there, and Hanif made an appearance for our channel again doing this prediction. If you've not watched it, give it a watch. I recommend it. Very good watch. And Tariq's going to come on the next one. But for now, guys, leave me now. I want to say goodbye. He will be wearing it after United finish above Chelsea. I don't know if you know this, Luke, but there's a joke going that Hanif's an undercover Man United fan, but I don't know. He says he's Chelsea.
Most of my family are United fans. What can I do? I grew up watching United.
Do you live in London?
No.
Oh,
From Yorkshire.
You're not going to be a United fan then, are you?
Yeah, it's a good point, Luke. Very good point.
Just going back to Munzie, yes, that FA Cup prediction. Munzie was on there and he did predict the Liverpool game. Thank you, Munzie. Guys, listen, it's been nearly an hour. Thank you all for coming on. Let's hope it's a good game. Any final words from anyone?
Yeah, please subscribe to Graham's channel, everyone, and the rest as well. So God bless.
Daddy Nadon, Tariq Talks, Munzie Talks. Anyone else? Just, Hanif's 24 channels he goes on. Get on them as well. And guys, listen, that's it for today. I appreciate it. I hope to see you all back on at some point. Let's hope for a good game. See you later, everyone.
Very much later.
Don't miss Monday NFL. That's on in half an hour. Bye.